All right, this module is fancy text. So if you want some text similar to this feature, so typically you would have a couple of words up there on the top, and then you have this dynamically changing text underneath. So it's really good if your company offers different services. You can see, you have what you kind of offer, and then underneath you can have the text dynamically changing like that. This other section is same concept, but you'll see this amazing flavor change to delicious coffee. Wonderful. So it's the same thing. It's just instead of typing the text, it's sliding it in and out. So let's jump over and find how we set up our fancy text UABB modules. I believe it's in Creative Fancy Text. So your prefix, whatever that text you wanted, I'll just use the same. Whatever that text that you wanted at the top is where that would appear. There is I'll show you when we get into it, and then you can go ahead and copy, big results. You could have fun results. More results. Okay, so that's how you would go ahead and set that up. So if we hit save, okay, so at the moment you can see what it's doing is typing it directly under behind our first line. So what we need to do is get this tiny little piece of code, which is going to be helpful for you guys to learn. There's just a few little pieces of code that I use. I'll put this in the video, but copy and paste that. What this does, it forces the text to the very next line. Okay, so what we can do is just come up to the top here and paste that in, and then that's going to force all the next text under to the next line. Now this works in any module that we have. So if you have just your normal typing, your normal text input, and you want to force stuff down onto that next line, or particularly with headings, if you wanted half of your heading on one line and then you wanted the other half on the other, if you just use that tiny little bit of snippet of code, you'll be able to achieve that. The next line is if you wanted some text behind what you were behind the dynamically changing text, that's where you could just add that text in there. So you can kind of see that it is changing that, still changing that text, but there's still something behind it. I think for me, visually, it gets a little bit messy like that. So if you can kind of word it where you can avoid using that, I think you get a better effect. Okay, now the effect is either type or slide, and that is going to be either this is the typing, both of these are typing, that and the one at the top there, and then this is the slide. So depending on which you're going for, that's where you can change that. And then you just got some control over the typing speed, the back speed, so that means it's deleting. You can make that delete fit faster, start a delay, back delay, so before it starts deleting again. Enable loop, so I just keep going around and around and around. I would definitely keep that. Show a cursor, so that little cursor there, and then the blinking effect, so that's the one below it. And then style, alignment, I would typically put this in the center, and you can just change the spacing between if you were going to have this on one line, this is where you could change the spacing and give it a bit of extra space, and that goes for both of them. Minimum height, I always just keep these to auto because it does a great job. Typography, again, this is where you can set the colors. As you can see, they did a fairly good job with setting the colors the way they did. So that's one thing we can look at. Set the colors so you can have the color on the top one and then the dynamically changing fancy text. Have that a different color. And then advanced again is just going to be where that actually appears on your site. So that's pretty much it. So that is fancy text.